Let's talk about leverage. Without getting some leverage on what you learn on the guitar, it can feel a lot like just memorizing random finger patterns and scale shapes and chord shapes up and down the neck. In this lesson, I'm going to share with you a really simple concept that will help you leverage chords that I'm pretty sure you probably already know. Plus, we'll put it through its paces by learning a really cool bluesy example. Let's get right to it. Hey, John here with your Tuesday Blues, where every week we come together to play better blues with straightforward, no-frills lessons just like the one we're about to get into. Lately, we've focused quite a few Tuesday Blues lessons on helping you practice smart and get more from your practice time and more from the concepts that you probably already know. What we're going to do today is simplify things and think about what we can do with one chord shape. So we're going to start out with this C major chord, all right? Just your day one chord here, probably one of the first three chords that you learn. We're going to make that bluesy by adding the flat seventh interval there, which is just putting the little finger down on the B flat, third string, third fret. But now what we've got is 4 strings, 4 fingers. So we can move that anywhere and we still get a nice chord. That's called a closed shape, a movable shape. We can really plant it anywhere on the fretboard and we've got a different chord, right? We're changing from C here to C sharp to D and so on. And we're getting the chord names from the root note here on the 5th string. So if we want to plug this into a progression, we can find the 4 chord and the 5 chord, and then we can hold this shape throughout. So this is a great way for someone that's a little newer with playing chords outside of this open position to get to know the fretboard and to get a little bit more confident playing chords up in the neck. Here's what I mean. We've got our C7 here, but if we look for that 4 chord, C7, D7, E7, and F7, just keeping it all dominant 7 in the blues. So we're looking for an F7 here. And we can find that here without changing our shape. We just find that F root note, 8th fret on the 5th string there. So those 2 chords are going to sound pretty cool together. I'll just strum. And you can feel something happening already. But we need a 5 chord in there, and we would find that just up 2 frets, up a whole step from the 4 chord. And really what we're doing is looking for a G7, and the G note is there on the 5th string. That's the 10th fret, all right? So there's our 5 chord G7. So G7 is not just this. It's not just this, right? We can find it in other places, and conveniently we can find it using a pattern that we're already working with. So here we go with a little progression, just kind of chucking through the chords here. And if you want to make that a little more interesting, you can add a little bit of that Travis picking style bass line to it, where we go 5th string, 4th string, 6th string. So I move and drop down a string to the G note on the 6th string and then back to the 4th string. All right, so we've got 5, 4, 6, 4. Notice that when I moved from C7 to F7, and then when the progression rolled around to it, even the G7, I did the exact same movement, just in a different spot on the fretboard, really keying off of where that root note is, that ring finger in this case, on the 5th string. All right, so it pays to know a little bit about your fretboard, the note names, but we're playing our 1 chord C7, our 4 chord F7, and our 5 chord G7 there. All right, let's take this idea into full-on boom chick territory for some fun, and so that you can really see that this has its practical applications. So we're going to start with our bass line, the 5-4-6-4, and then we're going to add in strings 3 and 2 with the little chords. All right, that's enough for right now. We're just going to punch it on beat 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it happens on beat 2 and the and 1, 2, 3 and of 3 before wrapping up with a nice punchy staccato 4. That's the 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move that around. That's a whole lot of fun right there in itself. But what we're going to do is kind of answer that pattern with some separated notes for fun. There we go. Here. So what's happening there is so we kind of put those two together. We've got a cool little idea that we can move around. Up here. G7. Now I want to point out one thing that I did there, because the progression moves a little quicker when we drop down from the 5 chord to the 4 chord. But I was well prepared to do that and not really miss the rhythm and not really miss the picking pattern that I'm really using here, because it's kind of locked in. Make sure you can do it right here at home base, but then move up. Right hand is doing the same thing the whole time, right? We got the chord chucks, then the separated notes, chord chucks, separated notes, chord chucks, separated notes, chord chucks, separated notes. All I had to do was move my starting point. Now, this takes practice. I don't mean to say that you can do this as a beginner, but you can start moving out of position just by holding that chord shape, and it'll help you get familiar with the neck and get familiar with different spots of the fretboard. That's the idea, and that's how we're going to leverage this one chord shape. Playing acoustic blues by yourself is very rewarding, and fingerstyle is really the key skill that will help you get there. And it pays to have some exercises in your back pocket that can help you get going with fingerstyle, or help you kind of keep your fingers fresh and keep that dexterity where we need. So pick up this guide, 5 essential finger picking exercises that will help give you some core exercises that I've used personally to keep things fresh, to keep moving forward, and I think they can help you too. So click or tap right over here, pick that up, and I'll see you back here next Tuesday for another acoustic blues lesson. Until then, practice smart and play on.